planted question, copied policy. What a pity they didn't agree to a parliamentary statement to announce a good Conservative policy. Can I join the Prime Minister in paying tribute to Marine Travis-Makin, to Sergeant Chris Reed, to Corporal Liam Elms, Lance Corporal Benjamin Watley and Corporal Robert Deering? That so many lives have been lost in the last 4 weeks is a poignant reminder of the sacrifices our troops are making in Afghanistan on our country's behalf, and we pay tribute to them all. At the start of this year, I would like to give the Prime Minister a chance to be straight about the recession that he said we would never have. Will he now finally admit that he was completely wrong to say he had abolished boom and bust? That was wrong, wasn't it?
Speaker, this is a global financial crisis. And Mr. Speaker, it is happening in America, in Europe, in every part of the world. And let me tell him one thing. Nobody is copying the Conservative Party economic policy. He likes to think people are. France is not copying the Conservative policy. Germany is not copying the Conservative economic policy. The present administration in America is not copying the Conservative policy. The future government in America is not copying the Conservative Party. No one except him is proposing we cut public spending at this time. Mr. Speaker, the whole Conservative Party policy is to cut public spending when they need it. You cannot fund support for business without the public expenditure to make it possible. The whole Conservative strategy is to cut when we need to invest.
The Prime Minister says no one's copying our policies in a week when he's announced a pay limitation of our jobs package and a pay limitation of our loans package. It's not a butler they need in Downing Street, it's a photocopier. Doesn't the Prime Minister, on boom and bust, doesn't the Prime Minister understand that because he cannot be frank about the past, no one will believe him about the future? And isn't that one of the reasons why it's so difficult to get confidence back in the economy? Now, evidence of how deep this recession is now mounting up. Nearly 10,000 more jobs lost in the last week, 10 more firms going bust compared with a year ago, and the worst survey since records began. Now, the forecast he made just 7 weeks ago was that the economy would start to grow again at the end of June. Is the Prime Minister willing to repeat that forecast again today?
I've said everywhere that depends on the level of international cooperation that we can get. Let me also say, he says we're copying his policy on unemployment. He wants to abolish the New Deal. The New Deal is the basis of helping the unemployed. He wants to cut the budget of the Department of Work and Pensions when it needs to do more to help the unemployed. You can pluck any figure out of the air about help you want to give to business, but if there is no money behind it and no possibility of funding, and you want to cut the budget of the Department of Business that is doing the funding, then it adds up to nothing. It is a do-nothing policy. That is the Conservative Party.
The point is the Prime Minister is achieving nothing. Now, the Prime Minister wouldn't repeat, the whole House will have heard, the Prime Minister will not repeat the forecast that the Chancellor gave just 7 weeks ago. Now, the explicit reason that the Chancellor gave in his pre-budget report for his forecast being more optimistic than almost anybody else was his measure to cut value-added tax. Now, this VAT cut has been condemned by retailers, attacked as fatuous by the former Trade Minister, and ridiculed by shoppers. Worse than that, it is adding £12.5 billion to government debt. Isn't it now clear that the centrepiece of the government strategy to fight the recession is an expensive failure?
Mr. Speaker, we raised the pension by £60. They opposed it. We raised child benefit from January the 1st. They opposed it. We're raising tax allowances in April. They opposed it. What we are doing is investing more in the economy. They're opposing it. And as for VAT, which incidentally was promoted not just by us, but by the former Chancellor, the member for Rushcliffe, and Lord Lamont, if there were to be any tax cuts, my first candidate would be VAT. So the Conservative Party is not exactly united on this. He may think VAT is unimportant, but at the end of every week, the typical family has more than £5 extra in their pocket. Now, it may not matter to the people on the opposite bench that £5 extra is in their pockets. That's £275 a year as a result of the cut in VAT. But that is more money for everyone in the community, not just for the few that they support, and it is more money so that people can make the choices about what they spend. Now, take together all the measures we have taken and look at every other country in the world. They want a fiscal expansion. The Conservative Party are the only party wanting public spending cuts. They are out of touch with the rest of the world. They are completely isolated.